All right, my beautiful people, this is ERGJ, Certified Financial Educator, and we are back here with the Money and Power Book Club, and we are actually going through the book, 48 Laws of Power, and we are on day number 2. Of course, today's episode is brought to you by True Detergent. It's a Black-owned and manufactured detergent. We got free Atlanta delivery here in the Atlanta area. 101-ounce bottle here gets you for $15. I mean, it's 15 cents per wash. Now, of course, you give us a call at 678-851-2400 to get your bottle delivered right to your doorstep. Again, True Detergent, make the switch. And we also got, just found out we got some fabric softener and some fragrance-free detergent coming out as well. You do have an opportunity to learn how to become a distributor. Again, you can go to www.ergj.net to get that information. Hey, here's the deal, man. We have law number 2 going through the book. 48 Laws of Power. And what we want to do here, we want to understand that we want to learn these strategies either to apply them or to know when they're being used upon us. And so it's law number 2. Let's get it. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Here's your judgment. Be wary of friends. They will betray you more quickly, for they are easily aroused to envy. They also become spoiled and tyrannical. But hire a former enemy and he will be more loyal than a friend because he has more to prove. In fact, you have more to fear from friends than from enemies. If you have no enemies, find a way to make them. And that is your judgment. We're going to go to the keys to power here. Again, 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, law number 2. It is natural to want to employ your friends when you find yourself in times of need. The world is a harsh place, and your friends soften the harshness. Besides, you know them. Why depend on a stranger when you have a friend at hand? The problem is that you often do not know your friends as well as you imagine. Friends often agree on things in order to avoid an argument. They cover up their unpleasant qualities so as not to offend one another. They laugh extra hard at each other's jokes. Since honesty rarely strengthens relationships, you may never know of how a friend truly feels. Friends will say that they love your poetry, adore your music, envy your taste in clothes. Maybe they mean it. Maybe they mean it. Often they do not. When you decide to hire a friend, you gradually discover the qualities he or she has kept hidden. Strangely enough, it is your act of kindness that unbalances everything. People want to feel they deserve their good fortune. That the receipt of a favor can become oppressive. It means you have been chosen because you are a friend, not necessarily because you are deserving. There's almost a touch of condescension in the act of hiring friends that secretly afflicts them. The injury will come out slowly. A little more honesty, flashes of resentment and envy here and there. And before you know it, your friendship fades. The more favors and gifts you supply to revive the friendship, the less gratitude you receive. Ingratitude has a long and deep history. It has demonstrated its powers for so many centuries, and it is truly amazing that people continue to underestimate them. Better to be wary. If you never expect gratitude from a friend, you will be pleasantly surprised when they do prove grateful. The problem with using or hiring friends is that it will inevitably limit your power. The friend is rarely the one who is most able to help you, and in the end, skill and competence, put that in the comments below, skill and competence are far more important than friendly feelings. Michael III had a man right under his nose who would have steered him right and kept him alive. That man was Bartus. All working situations require a kind of distance between people. You are trying to work, not make friends. Friendliness, real or false, only obscures that fact. The key to power, then, is the ability to judge who is best able to further your interests in all situations. Keep friends for friendship, but work with the skilled and competent. Keep friends for friendship, but work with the skilled and competent. Your enemies, on the other hand, are an untapped gold mine that you must learn to exploit. When Talleyrand, Napoleon's foreign minister, decided in 1807 that his boss was leading France to ruin at the time, and the time had come to turn against him, he understood the dangers of conspiring against the emperor. He needed a partner, a confederate. What friend could he trust in such a project? He chose Joseph Fouch, head of secret police, his most hated enemy, a man who had even tried to have him assassinated. He knew that their former hatred would create an opportunity for an emotional reconciliation. He knew that Fouché would expect nothing from him, and in fact will work to prove that he was worthy of Talleyrand's choice. A person who has something to prove will move mountains for you. I repeat that again. A person who has something to prove will move mountains for you. Finally, he knew that his relationship with Fauché would be based on mutual self-interest and would not be contaminated by personal feeling. The selection proved perfect. Although the conspirators did not succeed in toppling Napoleon, the union of such powerful but unlikely partners generated much interest in the cause. Opposition to the emperor slowly began to spread, and from then on, Talleyrand and Fauché had a fruitful working relationship. Whenever you can, bury the hatchet with an enemy and make a point of putting him in your service. As Lincoln said, you destroy an enemy when you make a friend of him. In 1971, during the Vietnam War, Henry Kissinger was the target of an unsuccessful kidnapping attempt, a conspiracy involving, among others, the renowned anti-war activist priest, the Berrigan brothers, 4 more Catholic priests, and 4 nuns. In private, without informing the Secret Service or the Justice Department, Kissinger arranged a Saturday morning meeting with 3 of the alleged kidnappers, explaining to his guests that he would have most American soldiers out of Vietnam by mid-1972. He completely charmed them. They gave him some kidnapped Kissinger buttons, and one of them remained a friend of his for years, visiting him on several occasions. This was not just a one-time ploy. Kissinger made a policy of working with those who disagreed with him. Colleagues commented that he seemed to get along better with his enemies than his friends. Without enemies around us, we grow lazy. Without enemies around us, we grow lazy. An enemy at our heels sharpens our wits, keeping us focused and alert. It is sometimes better than to use enemies as enemies rather than transforming them into friends or allies. Mo Se-sung saw conflict as a key in his approach to power. In 1937, the Japanese invaded China, interrupting the civil war between Mao's communists and their enemies, the nationalists. Fearing that the Japanese would wipe them out, some communist leaders advocated leaving the nationalists to fight the Japanese and using that time to recuperate. Mao disagreed. The Japanese could not possibly defeat and occupy a vast country like China for long. Once they left, the communists would have grown rusty if they had been out of combat for several years and would be ill prepared to reopen their struggle with the nationalists. To fight a formidable foe like the Japanese, in fact, would be the perfect training for the communist ragtag army. Mao's plan was adopted and it worked. By the time the Japanese finally retreated, the communists had gained the fighting experience that helped them defeat the nationalists. Years later, a Japanese visitor tried to apologize to Mao for his country's invasion of China. Mao interrupted. Should I not thank you instead? Without a worthy opponent, he explained, a man or group cannot grow stronger. I'll repeat that again. Without a worthy opponent, he explained, a man or group cannot grow stronger. And you see this in basketball, you see this in sports all the time. You need a worthy opponent. So Mao's strategy of constant conflict has several key components. First, be certain that in the long run, you will emerge victorious. Never pick a fight with someone you are not sure you can defeat. As Mao knew, the Japanese would be defeated in time. Second, if you have no apparent enemies, you must sometimes set up a convenient target, even turning a friend into an enemy. Mao used this tactic time and again in politics. Third, use such enemies to define your cause more clearly to the public, even framing it as a struggle of good against evil. Now, we see this happen all the time to us, divide and conquer. Mao actually encouraged China's disagreements with the Soviet Union and the United States. Without clear-cut enemies, he believed, his people would lose any sense of what Chinese communism meant. A sharply defined enemy is a far stronger argument for your side than all the words you could possibly put together. Now, again, the reason why we're reading this is we want to understand these tactics and strategies, maybe to use them on our behalf, but also to understand where they're being used on us. Because many of us have the wool over our eyes and we don't see what's going on to us. So never let the presence of enemies upset or distress you. You're far better off with a declared opponent or two than not knowing where your enemies lie. The man of power welcomes conflict, using enemies to enhance his reputation as a sure-footed fighter who can be relied upon in times of uncertainty. Now, here's your image. Here's the image as it relates to your enemies or whatever it is. Trust your enemies, never trust your friends, something like that. What is it again? You can go back. Here's your image for never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use your enemies. The image is the jaws of ingratitude. Knowing what would happen if you put a finger in the mouth of a lion, you will stay clear of it. With friends, you will have no such caution. And if you hire them, they will eat you alive with ingratitude. And here's your authority. Know how to use your enemies for your own profit. You must learn to grab a sword, not by its blade, which would cut you, but by the handle, which allows you to defend yourself. The wise man profits more from his enemies than a fool from his friends. Let me say that again. The wise man profits more from his enemies than a fool from his friends. And this is the part I think that we really want to take away. We want to learn how to use our enemies for our own profit. And so when I'm talking about understanding what is going on with Trump, what's going on with politics, what's going on with the economy, what I'm saying is this. We want to know how to use our enemies for our own profit. Every other group has learned this, but a certain group. And I think it's time for us to learn a little bit about these strategies that are being used upon us. Well, at any rate, this is ERGJ, Certified Financial Educator. That's law number 2 of the 48 laws of power. Now, again, you want to never put too much trust in your friends, because your friends are not always honest with you. Let's be honest. We avoid argument. We avoid being honest. We avoid telling the truth sometimes to our friends because we want to keep a friendship. We don't have an argument. We don't want to ruffle no feathers. But here's what I learned. If you want to know the honest truth about whatever your situation is, about you, about your character, all you got to do is ask your hated enemy. They have no problem being blunt and telling you the truth. As a matter of fact, that's how I grew. I started asking people who didn't like me, what are some of the things that I can improve upon? What are some of the things that they hated about me and my personality? And I started to learn, started to recognize some things that I could actually improve. So if you are in the path of improvement, don't go to your friends and ask for the advice. Go to your enemies, because your enemies will tell you the God honest truth, because they don't care about your feelings. Anyway, 48 Laws of Power, man. This episode is brought to you by True Detergent. That's right, True Detergent, black-owned and manufactured. We got fabric softener coming out, and we got some fragrance-free detergent coming out as well. Now, here's the deal. You can go to www.ergj.net, and you can learn, or you can sign up to learn how you too can become a distributor. But also, we're here in the Atlanta area doing free delivery. So if you are in Atlanta and you want to go ahead and make the switch, give us a call, 678-851-2400, and I will personally come meet you at your doorstep and get you your True Detergent. Make the switch. Well, guys, Carpe Diem, seize the day, and remember this: you got the power.